It's a great pleasure to talk to you, Alex, today. Could you please introduce yourself and what do you do for business?
Hi, my name is Alex Peak, and I work as an accounting assistant at a bank. But when I'm not working at the bank, I have a blog called Econ Analysis Tools, and I try to add as many posts out as possible. And I do research on any topic that's interesting to me. I don't really have a limit on what I like to study. I also have an economic data website called econfactbook.org, which is meant to be a representation of the world economy. But we can talk about that later.
Fantastic. Okay, so the first question, what is financial economics?
Financial economics is the study of money flows in an economy. This is a pretty simple answer. Just where the money is flowing. That's, to me, what finance is.
Okay, so is COVID-19 creating incentives or disincentives for businesses?
I would say that the economy is always evolving, and there's always new opportunities or disincentives going around. I mean, of course, there's mostly disincentives, like you see the economy kind of contracting around the world with people staying home and stuff. But there are, I mean, of course, there's new opportunities like food delivery or Zoom, like what we're doing now. Like there's more services or different services are being demanded, and that's where the opportunity is.
Very nice. Okay, what is econometrics?
Econometrics is the statistical analysis of economics. So it's whenever you're using statistics for economics, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, let's relate this question to question number one. Like, how do you relate between the econometrics with the financial economics? Like, do you use metrics with the financial economics?
I mean, well, like statistics is like whenever you're it's kind of like more of a detailed look at statistics, and you're using the statistics to kind of make a conclusion. So, I mean, there is definitely an overlap. So it's like whenever you're doing that detailed analysis of financial flows, then that would be like the overlap.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, well, what are the current financial economics issues and the problems for the world?
Well, I would say I mean, the financial economics issues are the same issues as what regular economic issues would be. So COVID-19, just poverty, anything bad in general, that is what that's like a financial economic issue in my view, and it's basically like where the money's flowing. I mean, that's what economics is, like in terms of the monetary, like with money. But I'm all for government-directed finance towards innovation and building a foundation for strong communities around the world. But the most important thing before that is that the money needs to be audited and totally transparent, because if we're going to just put money to the government and it's not audited and not transparent, people aren't really going to want to do that. But if it's transparent and clear, I think we can use finance to direct money towards solving a lot of the problems in the world. And I think that's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. So let's speak more about your website. What is your economy structure format?
So the structure of the website, it's supposed to be a representation of the world economy. So right now there's just a page for every single country in the world. And my goal or vision for the future is that we would use, or I would, or whoever's working on this, or like there'd be a page for every single country and city in the world also that uses the same standard format. And I noticed that in 2013, when I was in university, that a lot of the economic data websites, I mean, they have lots of statistics, but they weren't really organized in a clear format that I like, and it's still like that. And I think that a lot of I mean, to me, like I like to look at some like a dashboard, that's something that's really like clear and simple, and that's what I try to do. And so for each country, there's about 30 or so statistics that give the overall condition of that economy. And so there's a section for GDP, like industries, employment, corporations, households, the government, tax rates that people have to pay, the central bank, the banking system, and then international trade. And so with just a few statistics, you can kind of describe the condition of each of those. And I think it's a useful tool that should be applied to cities and countries in the world as well in real time. My website's not in real time. It's still static and stuck in 2015 or 2013 data, unfortunately, because I'm not like a programmer, but the aim is that it's all going to be current data.
Mm-hmm. And how are you going to achieve that? Like, how are you going to coordinate like the data can?
I don't have a crystal ball or anything. I mean, I'm always looking for finance and people to be interested in whatever I'm doing. But I'm like more of an artist, and I don't have any connections with other people basically, and so I just study whatever I want. I work on my blog right now. I'm working on animals right now and like biology and stuff like that. But this is totally a back burner thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
but
so yeah, go ahead, Alex.
I mean, sooner than later would be better, but at the moment I'm very focused on other things.
Okay, you mentioned some metrics or some standards that you compare countries according to, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which of them are more important than the others?
Well, I think it's important to know the GDP by industry of an economy, to know like how much of the economy is based on manufacturing or mining. I think that knowing that shows a big part of the character of the economy. It's also important to know where the employees are in the economy as well. It's important to know the big institutions and the big corporations that are in the economy. I view an economy as kind of like a chess game where, like basically we have pieces in the world, and what economics is to me is just where all the pieces are and what's going on all the time. Like that's what's important to me. Knowing the tax rates is important that people have to pay. Mine doesn't show like the loopholes, but it just shows like basic taxes. Knowing how much trade is going on, finance, investment going in and out of the economy, that stuff's important to me, or important in terms of knowing the character of an economy. Mm-hmm. There's other stuff like central banks and banks as well. That stuff's all, anything that has a big dollar number is like important.
Okay, let me ask you a follow-up question here, okay?
Yeah.
Like if you become the president of the, let's say, the country of Alex, what would you do? What would you do to this country in terms of economy?
Oh, I mean, I kind of answered this, well, basically what I said, like in the other question where I was like, about the problems of the world, make sure that the government finance is like super audited and super transparent so we know exactly how it's spent, but also building money towards the foundations of building a community of where people have the opportunity to succeed. Because if people don't have the opportunity to succeed, then the country won't succeed. So that's how I view it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me ask you another question here. Like, can this economic data be misrepresented or like given to the people to mislead them or give them false ideas about their economy?
I would say no. I mean, if the data is wrong, if the data is wrong, then that's misleading. But if the data is correct, like, I don't think it hurts to give someone an outline structure to how the economy looks. Of course, you wouldn't be able to analyze an intricate issue with this website. It's more meant to be like what a globe is for geography. So like a globe, you wouldn't use a globe for like any sort of practical use particularly, but it's nice to kind of have as a representation of what the world looks like. And that's what this tries to do. So
Perfect. Okay.
I wouldn't say a globe misleads anyone, right?
Yeah. No, what I mean is that, like, you know, like some people in some countries can show data in some way that give wrong ideas, or, you know, like deceive.
Yeah, I mean, that
That's
it
my
can
idea.
happen.
Yeah. Okay. So my idea is that, like, people need like deep understanding of how economics work to be able to understand this kind of data.
Wait, say that again?
Yeah, my idea is that people need deep understanding of how economics work to be able to judge this kind of data.
Yeah, I mean, it's more just to be as like a outline structure, kind of like the bones of the economy, not necessarily like describing like the organs and all the intricate parts of the human body. It's more just the bones of the economy. And that's the intention, the structure. So I hope that answers the question.
Very well. Okay, the next question is, according to your criteria on your website, can you compare the USA to China?
Oh yeah, I mean, so like just by looking at the website, I mean, you can see that China is more dependent on manufacturing as a percent of GDP, and same with mining. Also, China has more international trade and with the world than the United States. The United States has a higher per capita income, GDP per capita. So in that regard, the United States is more wealthy on a per person basis. You can see that in the United States, we have lower interest rates than in China. That's another big difference I noticed. Things like that.
Okay, lately there has been an economic war between the USA and China. How do you see that?
I'm not the best person to ask about that. I wish that they would get along. I don't know what I think exactly about free trade. I mean, I know that there's pros and cons to it. I haven't put a lot of thought into that exact question.
Okay. Okay. Now.
Yeah, free trade's a tricky one.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, the next question. Let's move to speak about philosophy. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned that you take quotes about philosophy. Mention 3 examples.
Okay. Is it okay if I look away because I want to read the quote? Okay. This quote is by Ludwig Wittgenstein. He's a philosopher from Austria. It says, "To convince someone of the truth, it is not enough to state it, but rather one mind the path from error to truth."
Yeah, could you explain that?
So, if someone is like, you disagree with them, it's really important that you understand what their line of reasoning. And sometimes a lot of people use kind of pieces of evidence in arguments, but they don't bring them up. They just have them in the back of their head and they assume that everyone else knows them. And so what's important is that we take a step back and we understand exactly why people believe a certain thing. And that's what I mean. We need to understand how they came to this conclusion and like, it's just really important to understand the structure of their belief.
Yeah, explore the reasons, explore their ideas, explore their perception about something or about an idea, an opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next quote.
Another one.
Yeah.
This is from Hesiod. He's an ancient Greek poet. It says, "It is best to do things systematically, since we are only human and disorder is our worst enemy." So it's kind of along what you were talking about before this interview, but I mean, when I look at my whole kind of a lot of my blog and a lot of things I do is a focus on simplicity and making things like I look at like Wikipedia or just websites I see on the internet, like, and I think of ways that they can be done more simple. That's like my main theme, and I try to get rid of the disorder.
Mhm. So let me ask a follow-up question here. Like, is disorder or disorganization a basic part of the human nature?
Well, I would say like reality. I would say it's a natural part of reality. Like reality can be really like just kind of a mess of phenomenon, uh, things going on. And so like the first step is to kind of identify concepts and attach words to those concepts, and then kind of build off of that into the point where we have language and we can say these things.
Okay. Next quote.
One moment. I had it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, this is by John Searle. He's a philosopher, American philosopher. He says, where questions of style and exposition are concerned, I try to follow a simple maxim. If you can't say it clearly, you don't understand it yourself. So,
Yeah, could you explain that?
yeah, so like basically like if I'm in a situation, I'm confused or whatever, a lot of times I try to like understand it in terms of words. And that just makes it more concrete, in my opinion. And I just feel like that is like the kind of the frontier on a lot of scientific concepts or whatever, is like you see these long explanations and it's not very explained very clearly. But I do believe that behind it is like a simple, true thing that there exists for people to understand. And I think people should always try to make their explanations short, and shouldn't be satisfied with requiring many pages to explain something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's come to a very important question. What is a belief analysis?
Belief analysis. I got the rules for it. It's a belief analysis is a method that I created, or I came up with it in 2018. It's a formal method meant to represent the structure of a belief, and it's meant for analyzing subjective reasons. And I hope that the goal of it is to help opposing sides understand each other better. And so it's just kind of a formal set of rules that opposing sides can use to understand the other argument better. So do you want me to list off the rules? I got 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be looking away because I'm reading. It's 1, the belief should be stated using a single sentence. 2, list the reasons why you think the belief is true. No more than 4 to 5 reasons. 3, each reason should be stated with a short sentence. 4, after each reason, list sub-reasons to support that reason. 5, each sub-reason should be no longer than 2 to 3 sentences. That's just the rules. It's just a way of, so basically it's like you're supposed to list out the reasons and then list the sub-reasons related to that. And you're limited on the amount of words you can use. And this is meant to, I don't like when I see, I mean, I of course I like reading articles and stuff like that and stuff, but when I see long art and then the counter that is another long article, I don't think like progress is made, because then it's just kind of back and forth. The people need to be more to the point and have like, I think that
A map.
I think this would be beneficial if people adopted it.
Okay. So let's explore an example of what a belief analysis looks like. let me ask you this question. Are humans contributing to global warming? Can you explain that in the light of your theory?
Yeah, so I had a blog post about specifically this on I believe that humans are contributing to global warming, and using this belief, I use this method. So basically, the three reasons were: one, industrial human activities release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere; two, the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere affects the temperature of Earth; and three, the temperature of Earth is increasing faster than any other time in human history. Now, behind each of those three reasons, I had one or two pieces of evidence that support what I'm saying. That's the method.
So basically, you say, like, you mention true or correct ideas, and then you support them with evidence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or elaborations.
Okay. So let's move ahead. What are the fundamentals of belief analysis?
Okay, yeah. So I kind of already answered this, but I'll say it again. So the fundamentals of belief analysis are: one, it's a formal method meant to represent the structure of a belief. Two, it's meant for analyzing subjective reasons. So like you got like Aristotle's like
mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I'll keep going. So yeah, two, it's meant for analyzing subjective reasons. Three, it attempts to make the structure of a belief more transparent. And four, it can help opposing sides understand each other better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you are trying to build like a concrete kind of conversation. It is not like vague or empty beliefs, like going nowhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it more systematic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, systematic is a very nice word. I like it. Okay. So the next question: what is the principles of epistemology system?
Okay, so Principles of Epistemology is an essay I wrote or compiled in 2018, and I haven't published it yet, but I hope to do that soon, self-publish, because whenever I go back, I try to like make it as correct. I don't want to publish it because there might be errors still. But anyway, there's 78 sections. There's 7 chapters. The 7 chapters are truth, knowledge, language, representation, reason, understanding, and phenomena. There's 74 definitions and for each definition, there's like a short explanation, like 1 or 2 paragraphs that explain how that concept is related to the overall structure of epistemology. Epistemology being the study of knowledge. Throughout the essay, there's an emphasis on the philosophy of language, because language is the best method to communicate knowledge. Like oftentimes you have pictures, but a lot of times pictures need captions. So there's still primacy of language, I think, in terms of communicating information. And the philosophy of language is absolutely important because we got to understand how language works. It's I think it's really interesting. The central method of the whole thing is belief analysis, like we were talking earlier. And belief analysis is very focused on language. And there's also an emphasis on organizing principles and quotes into clear structures to facilitate understanding.
Whoa. So basically, like it's a system to analyze and structure language, how language is built, how a concept is built through language.
I would say that would be like part of the language section. So there's like a section that's like on the philosophy of language, and I kind of talk about things like that, like how like words are established and things like that.
Okay.
But the main focus is on just reason and establishing knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the next question: what are the 3 major branches of epistemology?
Well, I would say that the three main types of like knowledge, or three ways of acquiring knowledge, is one would be intuition, which is the use of unclear reasons to form a conclusion. There's logic, which is using objective reasons to make a conclusion. And then reason itself, which is using explicit reasons to come up with a conclusion. So belief analysis is focused on reason.
Okay, very nice. Okay, the next question, what is science?
What is science? I have two definitions for the word science. The first definition of science is a method of establishing knowledge through controlled experiments. And the second definition of science is the study of any subject related to physics, chemistry, or biology.
Could you explain a little more?
Yeah, so I think that the word science actually signifies two different meanings. So there's one meaning that's kind of like K through 12 education. Like kids go to science class and they'll learn about chemicals and things like that. That's science, right? The other meaning of the word science is doing a controlled experiment where you have all the variables that could affect, like you want everything to be super clean. You want to have, you want to get rid of you want to make it as controlled as possible. So you're only measuring the impact of like one variable. That's the other meaning of science.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I view it.
Let me ask you a personal question. What is your message through your work like this to the world? What do you want to tell the people?
Just overall.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell people that I think that it's just
Let me
what?
Let me rephrase the question. You are speaking about belief analysis, you are speaking about epistemology, you are speaking about reasoning, thinking, evidence. Like, what's your main message to the people watching you or listening to you now?
My main message would be that the point is to make true representations of reality and determine the truthfulness of each of those representations. And also, it's important to build systems of related principles, because systems are like a useful tool. So I would say that focus on organizing principles into clear structures.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's been more than a great pleasure talking to you, Alex, today. Thanks so much for your informative conversation.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And sorry I've been kind of all over the place, but I really enjoyed this, and it's good to be explicit about these things I believe and communicating them to other people. That helps me.
Thank you so much.
All right, you have a good day.